Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Unplugged Woodworkers podcast. So I've had a couple of pretty busy days actually. So I did actually make a solar generator. That was using the slot together box technique. I did actually do a video on the slot together box. Ironically, I did do a video with the solar generator. I haven't edited it yet, so I'm going to try and get it edited, and I'm going to put it out. But it is pretty much the same as the box build, other than you say is putting the electrics in, the battery, the BMS, and I'm going to narrate it basically. So I did actually use birch ply for this. I actually bought some birch ply for the back of the van. I did actually start building the unit, and it's just been put on the back burner, which is not unusual for me. But the difference between the cheap Chinese plywood and the birch plywood, it's night and day. Honestly, it's absolutely night and day. The structural strength of the birch plywood compared to the cheap Chinese, it's unreal. The quality of it, and everything about it is just like, it's night and day. It's totally different. 100% better basically. It's been such a long time since I've actually handled birch ply. It must be pushing nearly 15 years since the last time I actually used birch ply. It's been such a long time. You know, and I forgot about the quality. The quality I'm used to seeing and used to using compared to something like that. I mean, don't get us wrong, I did pay nearly double the price, which I'm glad I did. So obviously, with us having the birch ply, I decided to use that on the build. It even looks better. I'll put a video. I'll put a picture up wherever on the screen there just to show you. But hopefully, I will get a video uploaded. Hopefully for anyone that wants to see us put that together. So I am actually late recording this because I've actually been so busy. So I was trying to record it last night, which would have been Saturday night. So Sunday morning I'm actually sitting in my van recording this. But yesterday I was so busy. I've done my brake calipers, both sides on my car, brake pads. And then after that, I was building a very basic frame for the solar panels. I'm gonna have like 4 solar panels sitting on this framework. I was actually trying to get all of this done and dusted so I can crack on with a kitchen island. I finally decided I'm going to do a kitchen island for my kitchen. It'll be like a little narrow thing. That was because on Friday I went to the northeast of England woodworking show, and I got 2 pieces of beautiful spalted beech. They're absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to get a finish on them. It's honestly these two pieces of beech, they've got so much character, and I cannot wait till I get the finish on them. So I specifically went to the show just to get these couple of pieces of beech. I mean, I think they're only about like 23 millimeters in thickness. I would have preferred them to have been a little bit thicker, but what it lacks in the thickness, it doesn't really need to be as thick, but I would have preferred it. The character in the beech, it just makes up for it. They're so beautiful. I'll put a picture up on the screen for those of you that are watching. Honestly, they're so beautiful. So I thought this week I would actually, instead of showing something on Instagram, I'll show you something that I seen at the woodworking show. So I have actually posted this on Instagram, so I'll pop a picture up. And as what this is it's like a quirky little design, and I've never ever seen anything like it before. So unfortunately, I don't even know who the maker is or the craftsperson is. The show was so busy, so I didn't get a chance to, you know, to have a little conversation with the maker, unfortunately. So this was a seat. And in the seat itself, it's a solid seat shaped, and I don't know if it was to cover up. I don't know if it's been to cover up some deformity in the wood or a mistake. I'm not overly sure what it was there for, but whoever's done it, the maker, has took the time and they went into different species of wood, and they've actually cut out live knots. So for anyone that doesn't know what a live knot is basically, how to describe it, if we think of a dead knot is like, it's dead in the fact that it can come loose and it'll in time it can fall out. That's like what we would classify as a dead knot, where a live knot will stay in the wood, it'll never come loose, and it's going to be there permanently. So you've got there should be no problems with anything, you know, anything happening to it basically. So the craftsperson has actually took the time and went round to different species. I think there's walnut in there and whatever else, and they've cut live knots out, and they've transferred the live knots and put it into the seat itself. Obviously got a picture up here. They're absolutely beautiful. I didn't actually take a picture of that specific chair. It was more just a little quirky little nuts what I took a picture of. But here's another picture of the same sort of seat without the little quirky nuts in. But the seat foam itself, I found absolutely beautiful. It was just so eloquent. I thought it was anyway, absolutely beautiful. I mean, everything at the show, and don't get us wrong, there was some beautiful things at the show, but those were one of the things that really popped out. It was the styling of the chair and the little quirky knots. I thought were really good. There was a couple other things, but it was just so busy. I didn't really get a chance to do what I wanted to do. Skeleton saws was there. And they've got this little saw there. I'm gonna have to check it out actually, because I don't know if it's a pull saw. I want to say it is a pull saw because it looks like a gentleman's saw. I'll put a picture up of it. So by the time I've recorded this, I'll probably know if it's a pull or a push saw. But I think it will be a pull saw just because of the handle. So the handle, there'll be a picture up. I'll put a picture up. The handle has like a little hook, a small hook on the end, and it looks like it fits into this section of your hand. So it makes sense as you're pulling it. You're obviously not, you know, the hook's here to aid you as you pull it. So I wanted to have a go of it, but I didn't get a chance to have a go. There was like a couple of people at the bench, and they were like trying out some of the other saws. So the saws are expensive, but they are handmade, and they look absolutely beautiful. Honestly, this thing was in front of us, and it was absolutely beautiful. You can see the time and effort that's went into it. And I know Shane does everything pretty much by hand, you know, so there's a lot of effort, time. He's very meticulous from what I've seen. And the saws themselves, they look like they perform very well. I think like he concentrates more on Western styles. Obviously, he doesn't do Japanese style saws, but if money wasn't an issue, I think I could have spent quite a lot of money on saws that day. There's some absolutely beautiful saws, and they all look like they were performing like exceptionally well. Just a shame that I haven't got that sort of money. While I was there, I stopped by the Rubio store. I think I'm saying that right, Rubio, the finish. So I watched a little demonstration of that. You know, the guy was you know, talking through the process. I was asking him, he was quite knowledgeable, so he should be if he's here selling the finish. But I asked him a few questions, and I ended up actually buying some. So it seems pretty good. I mean, I think one of the things that really interests us about it is that it's like one coat. That's it. He basically was saying that you sand it down to 120 grit and you don't take it any finer than 120 grits. You remove the sawdust that might be in the grain. He actually advised to blow it, to use an airline to blow it down, but I don't have an airline, so I think it's probably going to be brushed and maybe dusted off with a tea towel. Probably that's how I'm probably going to get round it. But you're not supposed to take it past 120 grits. Apparently the oil itself, it I think it's like an oil wax base, and it actually bonds with the wood fibers. I did actually go around, and I was, because I did have samples there, and the finish does feel pretty good. It looked okay, but I think it was more to do with the lighting and the type of timber that they had, because the timber that they had like little like square sections, like sample pieces on a wall, and I think the way the light was hitting it just wasn't doing it justice. But I've took the plunge, and I'm actually going to use that on the kitchen island that I'm going to be doing. So, and that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. This this little kitchen island, or this table. I've been banging on about it for God knows how long, probably about the last year or something, maybe even longer. So I finally got the wood for it. So it's absolutely stunning. I'm going to put another picture up here. Obviously I've took a lot of pictures of it, and I really don't think the pictures do it like that much justice. It shows what's going on in the wood, but it just doesn't do it justice. So I mean, even the knots, I'll show you this picture of a knot. Honestly, the knots just it's just like oozing out with character. So there is actually a few knots and a few cracks in the boards, the two boards. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I am actually going to fill them with epoxy, but I'm wondering whether I should get some sort of colour for the epoxy, because you can get like a different colour, like metallics. It's like a little pigments that you put in. So I don't know whether I could get some sort of like maybe a bit of a metallic, like blue or something like that, blue or a green. I'm not overly sure if I'm gonna do that, but it would be pretty cool just to try something out like that. But that's definitely gonna have to be addressed. But I want to make sure I do a good job of the knots, because I still want the knots to stand out as well, because I've got so much character. So the idea, what I'm going ahead with, is that it's basically two slabs. So one of them's going to get cut down, I think to about somewhere, I can't remember the size now. I want to say about 34 inches, something like that. It might be a little, I think it might actually be a little bit more. Basically this is going to be the same height as me kitchen benches, and what I've decided to do is leave the veiny edge on. I'm going to clean the veiny edge up, give it a sand, clean that all up nice prim and proper. And the idea is there's one of the sides of the slab on both of them, it's not straight, but it's relatively straight. I don't think I'm using the right terminology. So that's going to be, let's just call that the outside, just for describing purposes. And the other side, it's actually got like a bit of a bulge, so it bulges out. So what I'm actually thinking is that I'm going to build like a bit of a cabinet underneath it. So where it bulges out, I'm actually going to make the cabinet shorter. So it comes to this side and or the far side of the board, and it gets like thinner. So at that side, I'm going to stop the cabinet maybe a foot from the edge, and that's going to act as a bit of a like a kind of a breakfast bar section as well. So I've got the bit that's going to bulge out, and obviously I'm going to be able to get seating there and seating at the back as well. So that's kind of what I'm going for. So this is going to be quite narrow. I can't remember the sizes off the top of my head, but it is going to be narrow. But where it's getting placed in my kitchen, it's like it's a kitchen and dining room together, but it's like super small. It's like it's ridiculously small. So it would be nice to have had, you know, some sort of really grand table, which I still want to do. I'd love to have a really grand massive table, just to build it really, you know, but I haven't got the facilities for that. The kitchen itself, it's just not big enough for something like that. So this would probably be better suited, and you know, it's going to seat about 3 people. So which obviously I'm going to be able to make some chairs for that, which I'm looking forward to. And I did, while I was at the show, I did actually inquire into some logs. So I was talking to one of the guys from British Hardwoods, and he informs me that some of the logs that they get, they're too long to go into the kiln, so they've got to be cut, and apparently they'd be perfect for what I want to do. I explained, you know, what I wanted to do, and he suggested that straight away. It was, I forget the guy's name now, but I think when it comes to time, I'm going to be, I'm just going to pop in and have a word with him. Hopefully you can remember the conversation. It was very brief, as all my conversations were that day, but that's what I want to do. So there should be a cool video on that, taking it from log to a chair. That should be pretty cool, and they're probably going to be Jenny chairs, probably. That's what I want to build. I really want to build a Jenny chair, so I'm going to build 3 of them, maybe 4. I'll have to see how they go on as I build them. I'm more than likely going to start off with 2 just to see how I get on with spacing with this. So the little island or slash breakfast bench, if you will, it's going to kind of be like a river table. So I just thought it would be cool that the way my kitchen's situated is that when you walk in, you basically see out of a window to the back garden, cabinets to the left, and when you turn to the right, you're basically going to be met with this this beautiful looking piece of beach staring at you. So it's basically, you've got the 2 sections of beach, and they're going to be joined. So when you come through, you're going to see like the vertical section, and then obviously as you walk towards it, you're going to be met with the horizontal piece, which is going to be the piece where, you know, you're going to be eating your food on and so on. So that for me, that's how I'm going to go. The back end of it, how it's going to be supported, obviously there's going to be a cabinet underneath it, so I'm just pretty much going to go with oak with that. So on the top, the L shape of the beach, if you will, that's going to be joined by Japanese dovetails. So I'm going to do a variation of Japanese dovetails. That's going to be super cool. So that's going to when you walk into the room, obviously the the bench itself is just going to draw you in with a grain pattern, and as you get close, this is the idea I've got in my head, and as you get closer to it, all the character is going to be drawing you into the wood till finally you see the Japanese style dovetails, and obviously you're going to be staring at them. I think it's going to look absolutely awesome. I'm really excited to do it. This has been in the bouncing around in my head, like to get this either a table or like some sort of an island made, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. There is a couple of challenges with it. I'm not sure how I'm how I'm going to construct it. I have got a few ideas kicking around in my head. One of the problems is that if I well, I am, there's no ifs or buts about it, I will be joining it together with the Japanese dovetails. So the problem with that is that once I put them together, I am going to glue them. I really don't think I'd be able to leave them loose. I have kind of experimented with leaving dovetails loose here and there, but the problem with this is that they're so delicate and fine. I think if they're taken apart and put together, they shouldn't be, but I'm thinking if they are, they're going to be so fine and so delicate that they're going to end up getting damaged, and I really don't want to go that way. So the idea is just to glue that, and that's going to be one solid piece. Now the only problem with this is that it's going to be a little bit of an acrobat show to get it through doorways, but it is possible. It is going to be very possible to get it through, because obviously it's not going to be super long. Again, I think the length of it's only like 5 foot. You know, like I said, this is going to be a really small thing, but for the space it's going in, it will work, or at least I hope it will. So the underside, as I said, it's just going to be a cabinet, but I'm not overly sure how I'm going to do that yet, because one of the problems that I've got with the beach itself, with the boards being so wide, I've got movement in the wood, so this is going to move. I'm not really sure how much the movement is going to be. I mean, because I don't really work with beach. It's very rare I work with beach. I do get bits and bobs of it, but I don't think it must have been, what, maybe 4 or 5 years since I've done anything of like a decent size with beach. So I'm not really sure of how it behaves. Obviously oak, I know quite well. Oak, like in my part of the world, I can pretty much predict what it's going to do. I've worked with it so much, and you know, I've got oak. There's an oak all over my house, so I don't know how it behaves. It's the same with like a spruce or a pine. I kind of know how that's going to behave. But beech, as I say, I don't know. What I'm hoping it's going to do, I've actually got it indoors at the moment, so I'm hoping it's gathering some moisture at the moment, because obviously I believe that was it kiln dried. That's a point, you know. I don't know if it was kiln dried or if it was air dried. That's a good point. So I don't know what's I don't know what's going to happen with that now. This is what I'm hoping it's going to do. I'm hoping it's going to take some moisture, with the heat of the house. It's going to, you know, like kind of move around a little bit, and then it's going to stable out a little bit ish. That's what I hope it's going to do. So it's still, obviously it's still going to move through the season. So one of the problems that I've got, I'm not overly sure what to do, because what I was thinking about doing was the vertical piece that'll be facing you as you walk into the kitchen. I was thinking about putting two mortises into that, and this would carry the bottom rails of the cabinet that's going to go underneath it. Obviously going to the other side of the oak. The other side is obviously going to be oak, and it's just going to be some boards laminated together, glued together. And I can pretty much predict what's going to happen there. It's like I'm not overly fussed about that. I can work around that because I know how it's going to behave, and obviously with the thickness of it, I'm pretty okay with that side. But the other side I'm a bit worried about. So when you're building the frame underneath, obviously I was thinking about, you know, doing some housing and maybe some little square tenants, 2 square tenants maybe, or maybe 1. I'm not overly sure. So I was maybe thinking about doing that and bringing that back a little bit. So as what this would do would allow, as the woods expanding and contracting, the 2 rails will be able to move outward and inward with the seasons. That's one of the ideas I was actually thinking about. But then I was thinking about if they want a cup, which there is a little slight bit of cupping, so obviously that needs to be addressed. So I thought to myself, I would then have to put something on there, some sort of straightener on it. So I didn't know whether to just screw a piece and elongate the hole. So basically you make the hole a little bit longer, so a little bit wider in length. So basically when you screw this in to the batten, let's just say for argument's sake it's a batten, it actually as the board moves in and out, contracts and expands, the screws are actually able, because you've elongated the hole, the screws are actually able to move left and right. And I have used this successfully like a lot. I've done this with the tops of blanket chests, and I've got a couple in the house and they've been totally fine over the last few years. It hasn't been an issue with them. So I know that method does work. But again, I'm not overly sure with that. So another idea I did have was to do a sliding taper dovetail. So I've done one of these in the past and I did quite like it. I think I prefer one of these more so than just a regular sliding dovetail. So if you had like if you can imagine a regular sliding dovetail, so this would be, I'm not talking about with shoulders, I'm talking about, because this would just be a batten. So in essence, you're basically just putting, let's say for argument's sake, we're going to put an 80-degree angle on both sides. That would go through, and then that would slide in one way and slide out. It would go in either side. That would be your normal like a sliding dovetail batten sort of thing. But for anyone that doesn't know, with a tapered one, obviously you've got one end is going to be wider than the other end. So, you know, I don't know, let's just say, again, argument's sake, just say we're on it at 6 degrees. So you've got a 6 degree slope on this batten. So it's either edge of it is tapered at 80 degrees, let's just say, and then through the whole length of the batten, that's got a 6 degree slope on it. So what happens with this, when you actually put it in, and as you tap it in, it actually gets tighter and tighter, and it locks it. It locks itself in place, and I think that might be a better choice for me. It's something I'm leaning more towards, rather than just to do a sliding dovetail. One of the things about this is it's going to knock out easier. It's going to be easier to fit, and then you're going to get a nice tight fit with it. Maybe hit this home, and then you can actually just add maybe just one screw in just to keep it in place. I don't think I'd feel comfortable doing that just with a sliding dovetail. That's because over time, if the wood shrinks, it's going to be free. The thing with the batten is that I can actually, if it does work itself loose for whatever reason, you know, too much, I can actually tap it in more and it'll tighten more. Obviously, I've just got to trim one end off, and I would probably have to pack the other side, but it's not too much of an issue. In my head anyway, I think it would be better to do that. So the idea was, if I was to put the sliding bevel in, I could actually put a lip on it, glue another piece of timber in, or just use a bit bigger batten. I think it'd probably be easier to actually just glue another piece onto the batten itself, and the cabinet would actually just would kind of hook on top, you know, a bit like a French cleat sort of thing, something like that. But instead of a French cleat, I think I'd probably go with you know, just a regular like a square cleat, if you will, just to sit on top. And again, just the one screw just to keep it in place. Gravity's going to do the rest. I think that's probably something I'm leaning more towards. It's just going to allow for better movement, I think. Anyway, this isn't set in stone. I'm still puzzling myself how I'm going to do the underside of the cabinet. But the Japanese dovetails on the beach, that's 100%, that's going to stay. That's one of the design features of it. As I say, I'm not 100% sure about everything that's going on underneath. I haven't fully worked out the joinery, but the thing about it, with just the size of it, it is actually going to have to be able to come apart. Obviously, I've discussed the top, you know, going to be like a fixed L shape, but obviously the bottom needs to be able to come away, you know, to get it through the door, basically. Yeah, the doorways. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards at the moment. As I said, it's not 100%, but you know, if at all possible, I want to stay away from screws. I don't know what it is lately. I've like kind of like when we joinery, I'm trying to. It seems a shame. Sometimes I'm spending like a lot of time like cutting dovetails and stuff, and I'm putting screws in. You know, like say a blanket chest, for instance. Take me time. I'm cutting all four corners, all dovetails, and I'm using screws. I don't suppose there's anything wrong with it. You know, I think just like in certain places, you know, it might be better suited just not to use them. I think with the sliding battens as well, I think it's something I want to experiment with, just to see the bits and bobs of movement. So I mean, I've just you know, I've just said that I would be putting that like at the bottom of the vertical piece that's going to be coming up the vertical beach, and obviously, you know, some sort of rail is going to, you know, like basically just latch itself on, just hang off it as a like a French cleat sort of thing. There's going to be another batten at the back, where another seat's going to be positioned. So again, that's going to be pretty cool. It's going to help to keep everything, you know, it's going to basically stop any cupping. So again, that's going to be pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see how that behaves. So I think with that section, plus even the bottom section, once I get everything in, I'm probably going to get it in place, you know, give it a right old tap in, you know, get it all seated properly, give it a tap, a good old tap, and I'm probably just going to leave it alone for a little bit before I cut the two ends completely flush. That's what I'm probably going to do, you know, to give things like time to settle. So again, what I'm going to do, and this is just my preference, and I'm not bashing anyone for it, but I don't know what it is, but I really do not like when I see I see people using sliding dovetails, or even just buttons in general, you know, on the underside of a table. And I hate to see the, you'll have the table, let's just say it's a table, you have the table thickness itself, and then you will have the cut-in dovetails, or for the sliding dovetails, obviously for the button to go through, and then you'll just have like a big square end. And I've seen this, if you've seen the anarchist's design table, one of the tables, I think it's is it like I think it's used as like an office desk or something. I'll try and get a picture up of it if like what I'm explaining here. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, again, it's personal preference for me. But I did actually use this on a table that I made for a guy. I think it was a couple of years ago now. But instead of just leaving it like a big square like block end, I actually tapered it, and it just looks so much better. And I had a lot of people comment on it, you know, saying it looked 100% better, and how much it transformed the design. But that's just me. I like to see that anything like that. I like to see it tapered in. For me, visually, I just think it looks better. So that's what I'll kind of be doing to them two buttons. So once I kind of get my head around that and find out what I'm doing with that, it was the doors next. And I'm really not sure what I'm doing with the doors. I really don't know. Well, put some Tambola doors in it, which I really want to do. But it's going to be a lot of work for me to do that, like a lot of work. So I don't know whether I'm going to do it. I want to do it, but again, I don't know whether I'm going to do it. It would be very cool to do that. Other than that, it's just going to be your bog standard kind of kitchen door design, and it seems a little bit boring. So I don't know. I mean, the way I'm looking at it, if I'm spending all this time to do the Japanese dovetails, and I've spent the money to buy the beautiful beach, I may as well kind of go the full hog. But the thing with the Tambola doors is that they're going to be so time consuming. So it's a bit of a hit and miss on that. I don't know what else I could do. What other style of door? If any of you guys have got any ideas, by all means leave a comment. You know, like for a kitchen door, I'm not really sure. I wanted to do something a little bit different, you know, rather than your bog standard like shaker style like a door. I think, you know, that's what I'd probably end up doing, like at least the framework anyway. But I wanted to kind of get away from that and maybe try something different. As I say, the Tambola door would be absolutely awesome, but I might have to look into it and see if there's, you know, some kind of quick way to do one. Obviously, you know, I haven't got a table saw or anything like that. I'm most likely going to be recording all this as well, so, you know, that's going to add to the time of it. Obviously, you know, positioning the cameras and trying to do things awkwardly while I camera it, while I video it rather. So as I said, if you've got any ideas, a different style of door I could maybe be using, I'd like your inputs. It's definitely something. It's definitely something I want to change. You know, the door style. So I actually forgot to mention, while I was here, I did actually pick a book up. And this is the Woodworker's Pocket Book from the Lost Art Press by Charles Haywood. I have seen bits and bobs of Charles Haywood books. I think I must have read maybe 3 or 4 of them, something like that. These were the original Charles Haywood books. Obviously, this is by the Lost Art Press. I think it's been re-edited, but this is actually quite good. It's, you know, it's only like a small little, you know, like the size of it, you know, it's really small. It's basically pocket book to fit, it will fit in your pocket. But it's actually got some really good information in it. You know, it's got a geometry in it. Some of the geometry is really good in it. You know, just explaining things. It's got explanations of glue. It's got ingredients for wood finishes. It's got the different timbers of the world where they are. I mean, you won't be able to see, yeah, but it's got this is like a world map, and it's got all of the species of wood, you know, from the different areas of the world. It's got the species of wood that like are native to that part of the world. It's got your basic joints in, its mouldings. I think something what I like as well, it had sizes for furniture. So again, I don't know if you can see any of that, but it's just got, these must just be kind of nominal sizes, you know, for, you know, traditional furniture and whatnot. It's got like kitchen sizes, kitchen unit sizes, trolley sizes, wardrobe sizes. You know, I think these can be good like starting points. If you're going to make a piece of furniture, this could be like a good starting point to get your rough sizes. And then obviously if you're going to be doing something bespoke, you can start off with these sizes and then kind of alter them. But I think, you know, a lot of this is like a good it's like a reference, if you will. It's a bit of a reference book. I haven't had the time to look fully through it. I have read bits and bobs of it. It's actually quite interesting. I think it costs us like, I think it was about £16, something like that. The Lost Art Press have got some really good books. I don't like all of the books because there was a couple of books I got and I didn't think much of them. But this particular book I really think it's really good for the size of it. The information that's in it's really good. Obviously, I think I've spoken about it before, the Atticus design book. I think it's a top book, highly recommended for anyone from beginner to advanced. I think it's a really good book for everyone. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. It's a pretty decent book. So that's it for today, guys. I think I've banged on enough. So yeah, until the next time, I shall speak and see you guys later.